speaking of what you've been doing, I think it was yesterday, you were speaking with some ex-Muslim women, and I was listening to
Yeah.
it. I was out and about, and I was
Out and
really,
about.
really moved by it. Do you want to? Here's this video. I think it's the latest video. Well, it would be pushed. It would become second after this stream because that was done yesterday. You spoke calling all ex-Muslim women the voice of the voiceless, and strictly speaking, we only had ex-Muslim women sharing their thoughts and experiences. You had three guests, I think, three guests, or maybe two.
I had two guests, which it still managed, like it was like an hour per story, which I'm glad for actually. So I was really nervous to do this. I kind of like shared that with you as well. Like, should I actually do this? Because I don't know how many women would come forward. I was going off of what I saw on Apostate Aladdin stream, where a lot of women did come forward. So yeah, I kind of just like yesterday, I was like, let me just wing it and see what happens. But I think it actually worked out really well because both of those ladies have messaged me individually and just said they feel like there's like, a weight's been lifted off their shoulders just having had their story heard and had their voice heard. So it actually worked out really well, giving them that much time to kind of just speak and not having to rush through the conversations. I'm hoping this will pick up some momentum and steam as we go. And as you said, I can make it more of a regular thing, because to me, there is nothing better than if I've got any spare time to be sitting on YouTube and talking to women who have gone through the same thing and come to the same realizations and, are out the other end and are stronger, wiser, and better for it. So it was very, very heartwarming. Yeah, thank you for being there as well, Haris. And I'm sure you were pretty moved from the stories themselves. So yeah, I'm hoping to make this more of a regular thing. And I just want, like yesterday as well, I think hearing two women speak will already, the comments under those under yesterday's video is saying I'm in such a similar situation, but my husband's not as understanding as one of the ladies that called in. So again, it's just getting the conversation started and giving women that reminder that you're not alone. As Zarina really she honed that point home, saying she was quiet for so long and now she's just fearless, and she's like, people need to come out and speak, and if my story inspires them, then so be it. So yeah, kudos to the women that did come out and speak. It was truly an honor to hear their stories, and I hope this becomes something more regular in the future.
Well, I was gonna say, when what was the first lady's name? Azarina, I think.
Yeah,
And
Zarina.
she left a detailed message under one of my videos, and that's where she said, I'm nearly 56 now. I was 20 years old. She was born and raised in the UK. Went through a lot of abuse, and yes, there was a lot of abuse, and not only just when she was Muslim, but also when she married into she was married into a British family. So. Very powerful. And I was thinking that even though we could relate with each other on some level, that we all have been through a similar journey, but the more you look into it, the more you realize that sometimes the only commonality we may have is only the fact that we have just left Islam. That's it.
Yeah.
As Arena's case, now, as she said, she's 56, so she's been nearly waiting for 35 plus years. And I was just thinking that how lonely she would have felt. There was no ex-Muslim movement back then. There were no ex-Muslims. There was no term called ex-Muslim. The only thing closest to it she would have heard of would have been Salman Rushdie back in 1988.
Yeah,
and we all know what happened. Yeah, and then she would have like, ooh, I can't talk about this. But now she's like, okay, the world has changed right before her eyes. And is this the first time when she actually spoke about her experiences?
I think, yeah, publicly and openly, yes.
Wow. And
yeah,
surely,
Serena's here. Serena's saying it was, yeah. Thank you.
Great. Surely it must have been liberating for her to talk about it, because it's not healthy not to be able to talk about it for so long. Again, my journey is a bit different, and I've told my story plenty of times. But even when I started my activism in 2017, most of my activism, most of my videos, everything was, I was doing that in English. I wasn't doing that in Urdu. Even I thought that, hang on, I'm the only guy who's going to talk about these things, because in English we were getting a bit brazen. We were talking about Muhammad as though he was just another historical figure. But how am I going to translate that? I'm going to talk about Muhammad that way in Urdu. Um, so it took me 2 years, Nuria, to open my Urdu channel, because even I thought that I'm not ready, or I'm not, or the world or the Urdu speaking, Hindi speaking world isn't ready. So I started that in 2019, and then within a year, so many channels started popping up. These things matter, and Zarina, I mean, her story was I mean, the next story was very powerful too. How there were some good points as well. How her husband had understood, but also faith does come up. How they go through this arc as well. When they met, he wasn't very religious, but then he became a bit more religious, and then but then they found a way together. So anyway, so my point is, this was wonderful. The fact that you had these ex-Muslim women, we've been saying it, and I think you probably say it more than anyone, that you need more ex-Muslim women voices. So are you going to do this regularly, at least once a month, and maybe we can put this out? Can you tell us so people can actually bookmark it, or they would know how to be a part of the show? Then would it be same time next week, next month? Have you thought about it? Because
Well, so I obviously
now
want
would be a
to
good time.
Yeah, well, this is a safe space for women, right? So before I did this, I conducted a poll asking when is the best time to talk, because I'm trying to take into account like sensitivities. Like, for example, that the woman yesterday who called in, she was under a strict time gap until her husband came home, and she messaged me separately, obviously saying she wasn't alone towards the end of it. So she kind of got a bit distracted and wasn't able to speak as freely, but it was still okay. So to my surprise, most women said they'd prefer weekends, which is why yesterday I just kind of went for it. But yeah, the thing is, for me right now, it's just a bit of a balancing act. I'm kind of juggling quite a lot of things. So, but I always would like aim to give a day or two notice on my community tab. So yeah, if you are interested, just keep an eye on the community tab, and I will make sure it goes. Like, I'll cross post it on Twitter and the community tab a good, at the bare minimum, 24 hours before. And if you have any time preferences, please do feel free to email me, because again, even one or two stories like yesterday, 2 stories like that are so powerful in themselves. As I was saying yesterday as well, we're all women and we've all left Islam, but again, our stories and what we've gone through and how we've reached our conclusions are very varied. And it's so amazing to kind of see through the lens of what each individual woman has gone through. And as I was mentioning yesterday, how the common denominator is still Islam. So if we can just kind of keep putting that in the spotlight, and at some point or the other, some woman is going to hear your story and say, holy moly, like I relate to that, so much, and that resonates with me. And it might just give her that final push that she needs. As I said, this is not discriminatory towards men, so please don't take it personally. It is just trying to get more ex-Muslim women voices out into the public domain. So yeah, also Haris, as a separate point, I just wanted to say, as we talked about last week, how the Indian ex-Muslim movement has gone mainstream. Last night, I spent a good portion of the evening with some fellow ex-Muslim activists, and there was an ex-Christian fellow in Canada, and he's actually decided to do his thesis on, so the topic is new online movements and like the effect and impact they're having on the world. So he was actually kind enough to choose the ex-Muslim movement. So not only is it going mainstream in some places, but it's also kind of infiltrating into the world of academia. Yeah. Which is good, yeah.
Which was always going to happen, and I've said it anyway. We'll talk about this, but guys, obviously, I'm always Nuria's B team, and I'm always there to just make sure, especially this is our next challenge, that we need to get a lot of ex-Muslim women to come out, and this is a safe space. And I think maybe sometimes in this discourse, it seems very toxic, it seems very confrontational, and I think I kind of seem that way too. But anyway, I'm your foot soldier. So, but we need to encourage people who have left Islam to come out, share the platform. We can share our platform, and then you can just come and take as long as you need, because I think people are interested. I mean, constantly the videos where we get to speak with ex-Muslims, they gather the most amount of views. And also, I know, Nuria, you hate this, but I have to do this.
Please
if you
don't.
can, guys,
Oh, oh,
if you can, guys, be Nuria's
oh.
patron, then please be her patron. She's got 11 patrons right now. I've got 130, so not that my
Ooh,
patrons
look
need to
at
move
you.
there. Not that my
You're
patrons need
like,
to move there.
definitely don't move there. Oops,
Yeah,
did I say
but
too much?
in addition to me, you can also support her. So that would be because I know this activism. I mean, sometimes you may not see this, or sometimes you think I'm so cool and calm, but everything it can weigh down on all of us. So we need that constant support from you guys. So yeah,
Also, oh, thank
that
you,
yeah.
Horace. When you said you were going to do something, I thought you were going to full screen me. I also want to say, like, I was really, really touched by the fact that, like, even yesterday, the lady Mia that called in, she was so nervous to begin with,
I saw that.
yet
Yeah.
she kind of overcame that herself. Like, I mean, imagine having your story only replayed in your head and your lived experience, and then coming out on a public platform. The first time I ever publicly spoke about it was, I think, our first interview in English or Urdu. I don't remember which one came first, but I mean, I didn't sleep the night before. I was like, oh my god, like, how do I
You're so
retell this?
nervous.
And yeah, or in like, you just want to be true to yourself, but also, like, make sure it's cathartic for you when you're telling the world what actually happened. So I really appreciate the fact that, no matter how nervous or scared or apprehensive you are, you still, like, you have the courage to click that link and share your voice. So that was really, really touched by that, and really, really proud.
Oh, and you were very sweet,
Oh, well,
Nuria.
thank you, Zarina. And I also got your email. I'll respond back, hopefully after this stream. But thank you. Your words were so kind. I actually shared it with my mother because, it brought tears to my eyes. So thank you. It was so nice talking to you.
Also, having said that, because as I said, there are quite a lot of ex-Muslim women who comment and chat, and we know, but they may still not be ready to come out. So this is why, if you feel comfortable, if you're ready, you obviously, nobody can answer that question other than yourself. Once you do think this platform is all yours, but as an activist, I might be a bit biased, but I would, speaking from my experience, when you do speak up, not only that it actually helps you, but it actually helps a lot of people who are listening to you. This very moment, there are so many people, so many women out there who are just contemplating, who are asking these questions. They're nervous, they're afraid, they're scared. What if even, like the fighting, they could see this wall of faith crumbling right before their eyes, and they're like, what, who am I going to be after that? Then they can look up to women like you. So I think it's very important. I think the second guest that you had, she said that how when she always knew, but when then she looked in, I think she mainly she watched Apostate Prophet, and then she said that she was fact checking everything he was saying. And so anyway, so
Yeah.
let's wrap this
Also,
up.
yeah,
Yeah.
Horace, because what you're saying, like, for example, sorry, just the last point on this is, like, one woman's story, if it, impacts even one other woman, and then she comes out and speaks, and that impacts two other women, and then those two women come out and speak, like, the growth rate for this can be exponential. It's just about kind of getting those voices out there. And I think what was very powerful yesterday was to hear Zarina's words, where her story literally personified and embodied what Aisha would have gone through. And we kind of made that link and sat and pondered on that for a second, because, that's something we can never get justice for Aisha anymore. But Zarina using her voice and putting her story out there and making sure, us collectively as women, making sure this doesn't continue to the next generations, is in a way our small bit of justice that we can get. And then seeing from Mia's perspective as a mother, she just could not stomach the fact that Muhammad could marry Aisha at that age, because she looks at her young daughter and thinks, no way. We're like, you'd go mad, you'd go mental if someone tried to do that. So again, linking these things back to, like, what most people think is, the bygone era of Islam just wrapped up in the hadith. No, these are things that are affecting women today, and things that a bitter pill they have to swallow just to, be able to look their family in the eye and still believe in Islam. And this is so powerful. I always say, when women have each other's backs, that the thread of empathy just runs deep. For example, my mother is not an ex-Muslim by any standards, but just, I mean, I listened to the stories with her after the stream happened as well, and she said everything I said and more. and that's not coming, she doesn't need to come from the same place. So empathy is something that we all have in common as humans. So in that respect, it's very powerful as well. Thank you again for everyone who did speak up, and yes, please come out, the more the merrier. We need some more girls in here. If you like these videos and want to support me in my activism, then you can support me on Patreon or PayPal. Stay free, everyone.